And I'll get myself organized to share my screen. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. So Tracy and Jim and Marilyn and I have put together a presentation using all our Zoom technology skills. So we hope you'll bear with us. And I'm gonna lead off just providing an overview. So I'm just gonna share my screen right now. She said, okay, and whoops. Why am I not on full screen?
Because you've got your screen script that you're sharing a screen.
Oh, no, you can see, hang on.
Is it
The slideshow presenter. There you go.
There we go. Okay. All right. So I think we're good to go on this one. So I just want to take a few minutes to just go over the way we've got the session planned out. So our outcomes really for the time that we're together are to help flesh out what the important role is that AGs play in both supporting the clubs and the district governor. To spend a little bit of time talking about your key responsibilities and some expectations. Marilyn is going to share some key resources with you, and we'll have links and things that you can access those after the session. We also are going to, later in this session, there will be an opportunity for some questions and some discussion. And we're going to put you in breakout groups to have a dialogue with a smaller group, and then we'll come back and share some of the things that you discussed. And lastly, we're at the end of the session, we're going to ask you to we'll go around the virtual room and just ask you to share some next actions that you're going to take with before we meet again. So that is basically the morning. So I'm going to turn it over to Jim now. Jim, you can start talking about why engagement is so important right now.
Super. Well, greetings from Skeleton Lake, and welcome everyone to today's session with Donna, Tracy, Marilyn, and myself. So back in February, we were moving along well towards our traditional spring assembly that Donna and others had spent countless hours planning. There was a little bit of news about this virus, but it couldn't affect Canada and Alberta, could it? Boy, were we wrong. Now everybody has to take a huge step back from in-person meetings and self-isolate, which is a complete departure from where Rotary started in 1905. The only thing similar, meeting-wise, are Rotary E-clubs, like the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1, whose members have been meeting online for the past 7 years. For the Terra clubs, some have embraced the online technology and have continued meeting, but some clubs haven't, which is a real problem. If we don't keep members engaged, then they won't see the point in being in Rotary and leave. I'd recommend that if you do have some clubs that aren't meeting, reach out to the club leadership team and ask them if they'd like help in setting up Zoom meetings. They may be a little bit reluctant to try it out. If they want a Zoom course, they can contact either myself or someone else that's used Zoom before, and we can help them set it up and start using it. So Rotary is a bottom-up organization where the Rotary clubs in each area have a finger on the pulse in their communities and are very unique. The feedback from the Rotary Club is what our district and Rotary International need to develop change. The best way to get that feedback is through you, the area governors. You are the primary contact that the club will communicate with. You are the district's eyes and ears and very key to our success. In self-isolation, there will be mental health issues due to the economic stress with some of our club members. So the simple act of communication can help a great deal. Please make sure that you contact and communicate with your respective clubs. Give them the personal touch. I've read this article and I thought I'd share it with you today. Jenny Stotts, District 6690 Membership Chair, has talked about using the science of resilience to strengthen Rotary clubs during COVID-19. She said that resilience is the process of adapting in the face of adversity, and we can use this to help strengthen Rotary by working together to foster and grow resilience in our clubs and members. So here's some suggestions from Jenny. Connect. A critical building block for resilience is simply connecting with others. Check in with clubs, call them, send them a message, work to make sure they are still having virtual meetings. Perspective. When we experience ongoing adversity, it is far too easy to lose hope. Help members maintain a realistic and positive perspective. Rotary clubs are facing challenges right now, including adjusting to new meeting platforms and worrying about membership or giving. Remember that the challenges the clubs face today are not a reflection of the future. How they respond to today's challenges will shape the future. Wellness. We are living during a time when words like quarantine, lockdown, and Zoom fatigue are common and relatable. Promote and prioritize wellness among your club members. Use your virtual meetings to ask members to share ways that they are taking care of themselves and their families. Be gracious when a club executive member needs to take a break, skip a meeting, or have an extra few days to respond to an email. Now is not the time to keep points or compete with who is doing more or less. Speak and listen with kindness. Purpose. When we give energy to others, it has a way of recharging our own batteries. It fosters a sense of self-worth and gives us feelings of purpose and validation. Be positive. Gratitude. We benefit from mindful and intentional reflections in gratitude. It can promote the release of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which help us feel joy or happiness. Take a moment to share thanks to your club's members. So here's a quote from Jenny. When we collectively care for our members, we help create pathways to grow and foster resilience. When we scale these practices to the organization level, we unlock new potential to strengthen our clubs and enhance the member experience. And she also reminds us, the world deserves Rotarians and Rotary clubs that are resilient, adaptable, and strong. Remember to take care of one another, but take care of yourself too. You deserve to be your best and most resilient self. I also want to talk about the 2020 to 2021 Rotary Citation. As area governors, you have a key role in making sure the clubs have entered their goals for the Rotary Citation in Rotary Club Central. In an email from Julia Donahue from Rotary International, it will be easier than ever for Rotary clubs to set and report goals for the Rotary Citation. Previously, clubs had to achieve specific goals, which changed every year, and report them in various online Rotary tools. While a few of the goals are data generated, such as membership numbers and Rotary Foundation giving, most of them you can report by marking achieved in Rotary Club Central. The changes not only simplify the process of setting and reporting goals, but they also make long-term progress easier to track because the goals will stay the same from year to year. The Rotary citation is very easy to achieve. The clubs just pick 13 goals out of the 25 goals listed in Rotary Club Central. And Marilyn will give some more details on citation goal setting. Remember, the citation is only available in Rotary Club Central. Clubs will have the whole year to achieve their goals that were entered, and the clubs must be in good standing. So I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your Saturday and attending today, and good luck with your clubs. Over to you, Marilyn.
Hi, it's actually Tracy, sorry.
Yep, it's over to Tracy. Last minute change in the order.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim. And it is an absolute honor to join each of you here this morning. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your world to be a area governor, assistant governor leader. As we were looking through and designing the program for today, one of the things that was really important for us, we recognized it was important to share with you lived experience as a governor. And this is important to help you in shaping your experience, but also as well in the role of supporting Jim. We wanted to ensure that we set the team up for success. And as you know, you are a key to Jim and to the district and to the clubs to be successful. You know, I look at Simon Sinek's quote here, the role of a leader is not to come together with all great ideas. The role of a leader is to create an environment in which great ideas can happen. And that's what you have the benefit of doing, is to help to inspire, engage, lead, but also work through some of those challenging pieces, aligned step by step with your area governor, or pardon me, with your governor, Jim. So as you see here, Jim is on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. As you can see, he's prepared. He's got his wheels underneath him. He's got his wings ready. His arm is up. He's ready to charge. He's got his glasses on. He's got clear vision. And he is getting ready to open up opportunities through Rotary and through you. And each of you are in the middle. All of you are connected and strong. You are getting ready to jump out of the plane and to parachute down into the district to support our district, your district, to be the best it can be. You are all connected together as a team. You're connected through today, and you're going to be connected at higher levels throughout the next year. Next screen, please. There's some important items that are really important for me to share with you in supporting the district governor. And I've all been a governor, an area governor at one time, so I'm very respectful of each of you in your seats today. But I didn't understand some of the complexity and some of the issues until I became a governor. So things that come to mind is how we work together as a team, teamwork, how we build trusting relationships, how we continue to be a bridge together, and our intent is to work for success. So I say to you again, thank you for stepping up and taking a leadership role as an AG. You are a key part of the district leadership team and are key to maintaining and inspiring strong relations within the clubs to support the presidents as they venture through this next year. As well, another important piece is communication, keeping the district appraised of how the clubs are doing. We all understand the role of a president and the responsibilities of being a president. And we know that some presidents are strong and some are ready for the role and some are not. You are a key partner in supporting that president as they venture through this next year. As well, I come back to the word bridge because you are the bridge between the club and the district. We encourage you to focus on a shared relationship approach. I ask you, how are you building a trusting relationship with the clubs so that the clubs feel comfortable as you when you reach out and that they see the importance to work with you and the value of having you as part of their team? It's important for you to stay connected with the club, connection, reminding you of that word. And truly, 1 or 2 visits per year does not work. I can share with you, as Jim just mentioned, you are the ears and the eyes, and you have an understanding of the pulse of that club. And so 1 or 2 visits isn't sufficient. But it's important that you recognize when they're planning a celebration, And has the district governor been advised of that celebration and noted that date in their calendar? That's a key piece, because as a governor, we want to be there to support all of our clubs. And we have 60 clubs within our district, plus also our Rotaract. We have 9 Rotaract and all of our Interact clubs. So as you can imagine, the district governor's calendar fills up quickly. We also know that there become challenges that arise. It could be membership challenges or it could be leadership challenges. You are key to help to venture through those challenges and key in support to help Jim to understand those challenges. You know, Jim's already noted COVID and the challenges that we're facing right now. We have clubs that aren't meeting well right now or not meeting at all. You will need to deal with some of these circumstances and some of these issues, and you'll also deal with conflict throughout the year. And with building a shared valued relationship, you'll be key in helping to come forward and build with solutions to move through these situations. You're also a cheerleader. So you're going to cheerlead and share as all of our clubs continue to do great things as they do. And one I would suggest is just a technical piece that you could help Jim with is when you see those clubs that are doing some amazing events or have amazing successes with a grant or a program or service, share it on the district Facebook group so that Jim then can go in and say cheerlead and hurrah, hurrah as well. What it does is it helps to connect a connection that you are part of the success. And it helps to engage Jim because he can't monitor and watch all of the clubs. There will be times as well that the clubs will reach out to you and ask you about your role. And why are you wanting to attend their board meeting? Why is their budget so important? And why are you attending their club meetings? Well, you need to let them know, and through the shared leadership model, that you are there to ensure they are successful. And you are the face of the district within their community. And sometimes club presidents don't understand that. And you are important in helping to build that relationship and understanding. Are the clubs reporting their events and activities with the insurance company? This is really important under risk management. And are they following the guidelines to reduce risk? Now I share this with you as an example because you're not a watchdog, but you're there to guide them and to care for them. At this time, a lived example of one of the things we're facing at the district is we're receiving numerous requests from our clubs. They're asking ways to learn how they can continue to serve their community and to stay connected in fellowship. This is your opportunity right now to help to bridge that gap and those questions and come closer to them as a team player. You are the most important team player to the district, to the district governors, pardon me. You are hands-on, you have information to share, and sharing that information with the governor is critical. You are again that conduit between the governor and also the clubs. So to ensure everyone is successful, it is important we share this information. Share that information of what you're learning about the clubs with Jim, or if it's someone else within the district leadership team. You'll also be receiving information from Jim and from RI or from Deneen at the office or from another part of our district leadership team. We ask you to also continue to share that information with the clubs because we know sometimes they don't read their emails. That's just a proven fact. So if you are also helping to ensure that information is shared on a consistent basis, you're another conduit of information. And when you see great successes again, help to get that information to whoever it may be at our district level, if it's our public image team, etc. So we can help to share that information and brag as well. Brag about how great our clubs are and how beautiful they are making an impact in our communities. But also, if a club is dealing with conflict, issues, or challenges, Jim must know about it. And he needs to work with you as a team to support them. And by continued engagement with the club and with Jim, hopefully the issue can be resolved sooner than later, before it escalates. The club visits also strengthen the relationship between the club and the district. Jim needs your help. Prepare him for his club visit by reporting to him in advance the strengths and the weaknesses of the club. It allows for him to become prepared and for you to work together as a team in supporting the club. So I ask you, as Jim mentioned, to please share kindness, care, and respect. As you lead, you have a team that's supporting you. And share kindness and respect and care as you go forward. The team that's supporting you is Marilyn as your lead area governor, Jim, plus the district. And I encourage you to use us. So why is all of this important to each of you? Because we've all heard many times, there is no I in team. But together, we are better. And we are stronger when we connect, share, and care. And when we continue to build respectful and trusting relationships. We know the outcomes create stronger environments, stronger clubs, and stronger synergy as we go forward. So we'll talk further when we go into the breakout sessions. Wanted to share this aspect of the importance of working together and trusting relationships and the importance of you as a bridge to be successful. So Marilyn, I'll pass it over to you now, and then we'll move on forward through the rest of our session. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm very proud to be working with all of you in this next Rotary year as we face the opportunity to serve our district and support our incoming district governor and clubs. And Tracy is right. We are a team. We are working together, and we are all coming into this role. Some of us with more experience than others. We have, I believe, half of our AGs are returning, so congrats and thank you for your continued support. But the other half are new, and each of you have had the experience of leading a club, which is awesome. You understand the challenges that your incoming presidents are going to be facing, but your knowledge of some of the systems may not be all at the same level. So it's going to be interesting for us to be working all together as a team. But remember, if you have a question, if you are stumped, if you have some, don't know where to find some answers, please reach out to me. And we also have resources at the district level. So that wanted you to know that when you're supporting your clubs, you don't need to know all the answers, but you do need to know the systems and where you can try to find the answers and reach out, as I mentioned. So the district website, which you now all have enhanced access. So when you go into the district website, perhaps before, even as a club president, you could see all of the calendar and other items. But now when you log into that member area, you have access to communication gateway where you can email to your club presidents as well. You can see the club executive lists, and that way you can be a little more efficient in your role. Please take time to explore the district website and to see who is sitting at the district level in their various capacities, whether it be foundation or membership. And that way you can forward some questions to those people directly or through me. It's your choice. I've often been asked what the difference is between Club Runner and Rotary.org. So I'm going to shed a little bit of light on some of our systems. So for those of you real experienced AGs, this is a bit of a review, but nonetheless, I think it's worthwhile to have an appreciation for the systems and how they work together. They are not disparate. These are not systems that don't talk to one another. They do, in fact. And your clubs will be more successful if they understand how to use the systems that are available to them. So Club Runner is a starting point. Most of you have had familiarity with Club Runner in your clubs, but some clubs are using the tool more than others. It's not only for tracking your member profiles, in other words, doing membership, but it's also your website. It's the club bulletin. It's where they sign up for activities. Ensure that you are familiar with the tool because your clubs need to be using it. And in fact, when you're out to prepare for your district governor visits, you will be looking to their site to see how current they are with posting of their next meetings, posting pictures, and any other relevant information about their club. Because remember, that website is like the storefront window to a retail store. When we're referring prospective members out to clubs, I send them links to the websites, and that's how they get a picture, a snapshot of what are the operations of that club. And if it's out of date, then it doesn't give them a very favorable impression. So education on the use of Club Runner is available online, and with help, they've got webinars, or you could ask other people if you need help for those clubs to get up to speed and get a good handle on managing their club and sharing their stories with their members through the bulletins and the general public. It's not, your social media is not your replacement for Club Runner. Just so you remember that the Club Runner is the site that tracks things, especially membership, that rolls up to the district Club Runner site, and then from there also to the Rotary website. So there's a syncing that goes on between your membership at the club level all the way up to RI, which leads me to what is Rotary.org. Now that might seem simple enough. Well, of course, that's Rotary International's website. Yes, it is, for sure. But it's also a hub of resources for club and district leaders, as well as for you as AGs. When you log into my Rotary, and we're going to talk about that a little shortly, next slide, you'll understand what things open up for you and your club leaders as well. But it's important to remember that the integration from Club Runner goes into Rotary.org. And so a lot of information like your membership stats and whatnot are all flowing through from Club Runner originally. You'll note that clubrunner.org is also a window, like a selling window for people that are not Rotarians. So they might be looking to Rotary to learn more about the organization. They've probably heard about it or seen projects. And so when they explore the Rotary website, they can click on a location on how to join Rotary. And then we get that information as a district. And we're going to cover the whole membership lead system at another time. Another important area within Rotary.org is, of course, the training in the learning centers. And some of you are probably well aware of that as you've gotten through some of the basic AG training. But there's also good information there on public relations and stories about the great work that Rotary is doing. Now, lastly, Rotary Club Central is a component of Rotary.org. It's a section specifically for clubs to track their goals. And you have access to this area now for your specific areas, and you can see how the clubs are setting their goals. And if they haven't yet, you're going to be assisting them. And then how to measure their progress. Donna? So Rotary Club Central, you have to get into it, first of all, by logging into My Rotary. I don't know if any of you have not yet logged into My Rotary. There is a YouTube video, which is really short. I think it's 1 minute and 20 seconds, that if it's worthwhile, and perhaps we can just have a show of hands, if there's anybody that has not yet logged into My Rotary, or you know that your president-elects have not, and this might be helpful for you as a refresher. Is it worthwhile doing? Can we have a show of hands or comment? Unmute yourself.
It wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
Everybody else, Howard, Scott.
Oops, sorry. Are we showing it?
No, that's what I was just asking to see. We should,
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead. It's short.
Okay, go ahead.
Has it started, Donna?
Yeah, can you hear it?
No.
Oh.
Donna, did
Okay.
you check off those 2 boxes on the bottom when you went to share?
No, I didn't. That's the problem. We don't have audio.
So maybe stop sharing and then share again.
Okay.
That might work.
Okay. Then I have to go down and check the,
It says share computer sound. There's 2 boxes that you check off on the bottom.
Hang on. Leave computer audio or share. I can't.
If everybody has logged into My Rotary before, this is going to be redundant.
Right.
So that's why I was trying to ask.
Okay. Sorry about that.
The learning experience.
Yes. It's always the one thing we haven't done, right? Audio. Is it because I have my head? No, it's not my headset. Listen, I think this is probably going to take too long.
Okay, let's just skip that, Donna. Go
Yes,
back to the
sorry,
slide.
Marilyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you or your club presidents have not yet logged into My Rotary, and I know there are some, so don't feel embarrassed by that. That's okay. Just know that there is a Rotary, and the link is right there, that you're going to get a copy of the slides, or you can copy this if you want to. It's in the chat box. If you can copy that and put in the chat box on how you log in to sign in first to My Rotary. So it's account registration. Make sure you use the email that you use in Club Runner. So, because that is how Rotary recognizes you, and that you confirm that you're over 18 years of age, and it'll actually then let you in. It's an invitation to get into My Rotary. Okay, and
Next slide.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, hang on.
So once you get into My Rotary, what is the excitement? Well, of course, now you get into the club goal area. Rotary Club Central is has a lot of components to it. So at first blush, you might see the dashboard and see the trends of where membership and foundation giving. I think there's another slide before this one, Donna.
No, this is,
No, okay, sorry.
yeah, it's the next.
Okay. The importance of Rotary Club Central. I've been asked sometimes, well, why do clubs have to enter in their goals? The importance is that when a club sets goals that they will focus on and then track them throughout the year, it gives the members and the leaders some accountability. It also engages the members, because this way the members know what you're focusing on. And you can use the snapshots of Rotary Club Central in your club assemblies. And that's another question sometimes I've been asked as well. We don't have club assemblies. This is your way of checking in with the members. And of course, you know, if you've been a club president, you've done this before, to make sure that the rest of the club knows what your club is striving to accomplish in that year, whether it be membership, whether it be service, whether it be youth programs. And this is one way of documenting it. So it makes it easy for the leaders to see the history. They can see over the past number of years how well that club has done, whether it be membership or foundation or whatever. And for the district leaders to track the club's progress towards its goals. So it fosters the continuity of leadership. So your past president, your current president, your incoming. And it increases that transparency. And guess what? It also saves paper. So this is an environmental thing rather than sending in reports. The goals are standard for all clubs, and the measurement of each avenue of service really dictates the, there we go, thank you, Donna, the health and vibrancy of the club. And the annual citation sets goals for awards and recognition of your accomplishments. So the first goals that are to be entered are membership and foundation. And you really want to have your presidents get them in by May 31st. Well, that's just around the corner. So if you have not yet talked to your club president-elects, this is a good reason to chat with them, make sure they know who you are, and ask if they've thought about those two goals. And when they go into Rotary Club Central, they'll be able to see what their goals were last year. Some of these president-elects may not have even been familiar, for that matter, with what their goals were before and what their accomplishments were. So this is a good opportunity for them to see that. And then to track a practical membership number. When I say practical, it's not something that's necessarily pie in the sky, but something that they know that they will accomplish and maybe stretch it a little bit. But it's important for them to note also how many members are they going to lose. And if the club leaders are in contact with their members now, and they should all be, this is an important time for those clubs to get a handle on any potential transfers, any other reason that somebody is not going to renew their membership, that they get that recorded before June 30th so that they're not paying dues as of July 1. Now, there are some documents that I've got uploaded, and Tracy is supplying them to all of you. They are in your AG training, but they're really handy cheat sheets on how to enter goals into Rotary Club Central. Your club presidents will have it in their training kit as well, but they're simple 2-page documents. And in particular, it also outlines, there's one of them that features service projects, because it's not just a matter of how many service projects they're going to do, but there is a tab on the left-hand side of the Rotary Club Central that you insert more information about the projects, including number of volunteers, number of volunteer hours, the dollars that are involved, in-kind contributions. And why is that important? Because your information at the club level rolls up to the district, and then up to the zone, and then globally, and then at a Rotary International Convention or in press releases that come out, powerful statements of the impact that Rotarians have around the world are circulated. And we know that today volunteers want to understand the impact they're making in their community. And this way it's a tangible representation of that. So it also acts as a tool to engage the members and keep them focused on the mission and the why of their club existence. So that's why Rotary Club Central is important. And if there are any questions at all about how to enter in goals, and you yourself may not know the answers, reach out to me, reach out to some of the other district leaders, and you'll get the support that you need. Jim mentioned before that the citation this year is easier than ever to record because there are a total of 25 different goals that you can go after, and you only have to record 13 of them in order to qualify for the citation. So here's an example of setting goals. This is the citation section, which is a snapshot and a highlight. And many of you are familiar with this, but this is just showcasing, I'm not going to name the club. There's club membership, and there is, if you click on that blue section here below the club membership header, it would go into history, but it shows what the goal is and what their achievement is. And this is as of May 25th, and so they're not quite there yet, but their service participation and their new member sponsorship, they have achieved their goal, and so that's why that check mark is there in the green to indicate that they've achieved that goal. Rotary Club Central is valuable for a very other reason, and Tracy mentioned that. Your role as AG is to assist the DG in advance of their visit, and this is where you're going to gather information from each club president on their perceived club challenges and strengths. You will be able to see evidence of these in the goals and the historical trends within Rotary Club Central. And if they don't bring it up and you see some trends and some concerning issues, that's what you bring up then, especially in the executive meeting for when the district governor, Jim, is meeting together with them. When you go through and help them set their goals, then you can watch throughout the year as they progress. And then when the club meeting actually happens with District Governor Jim, you're going to celebrate their successes. That's what he's going to focus on. And the executive is going to be addressing some of the challenges and work through those potentially with you or other district leaders that are there to help as well. Your notes and observations will be key in documenting the club's ratings. And so there's a next section here, the club rating. It's a bit like a report card, but it's a bit like just standardizing a central place to put your notes. Here is the narrative when you get into club ratings section, and this is on the left-hand side bar again in Rotary Club Central, and your clubs in your area will come up. Here is the narrative that describes what is the difference between a 5-star and a 4-star and a satisfactory and needs improvement. And you know, in many cases we can say, well, all clubs need improvement. There's no question about that, but it's a question of degree. It's pretty serious if a club is down at the bottom of non-functional. I don't think that we're at that point, hopefully not, of any of our clubs, but this is why your connection, relationship, and trust with your club presidents is key to be able to detect when things are going off the rails and to make sure that DG Jim is apprised of that well in advance. The next slide then shows how you'll do the ratings of your club. This is just a snapshot here. And then the far right, where there's a green bubble, is where you put the narrative. That's where you take the time, and it's a fairly large section to insert your notes and comments that support the rating that you've given that club. And the district governor also makes their notes as well. Hopefully we've covered at a very high level what Rotary Club Central does, why it's important, where your role is in working with the presidents, and the tools that the district and RI have in place to support you. But this is an opportunity now, if you want to unmute yourself, if anybody has questions, we're here to be able to answer those for you.
So, Marilyn, I do see a question that's on the chat box from Lou Henderson. And the question is, why should clubs care about achieving the Rotary citation? I would appreciate suggestions about what to tell clubs about this. Would you like me to answer that?
You can answer that, sure. I've got an answer, but go for it, Tracy.
Okay, so the citation is derived as a result of the areas that Rotary has identified from their strategic plan on the strengths and the weaknesses of what they're experiencing within the club. So it starts at the higher level, and then the citation is derived from that area on looking at ways to strengthen the clubs at the ground level. So the citation is the opportunity to strengthen clubs in every part that have been identified, maybe at a Rotary International level or as well through their own level at their club to strengthen. So it's a tool to be able to help them. And it also, as well as a tool that helps for all of us at the leadership level to measure how well they're doing as well. So it's really a joint relationship from Rotary International to the district, to the clubs, but then as well, as they say, to strengthen. Marilyn, do you want to add more to that?
No, that's great, Tracy. And I think when we include the fact that you can use the reporting of the goals to share at club assemblies, it's a way to make sure that everybody's in the know. I was just speaking to one of my clubs and they said, you know, we don't have club assemblies. I said, so how does your club know what you're working on and what you're striving for? So that's going to be a change in that particular club. It's all just a matter of knowledge, and that's why we're doing these training sessions. If you get more aware of it, then the clubs will be more aware of it. And if there's still challenges, feel free to reach out to the rest of us if we need to help to present or to speak with the club presidents about that.
I see, Jason, you have a question about service projects?
Yeah, just there is so many different ways to enter in data with Rotary, and I often struggle myself, and then not being fully educated on where to put data and that sort of stuff. I don't have a real great advice to give the clubs, but the one that just came up here now was about entering service projects and that. So, you know, I see that there is, and this is there's you know, Rotary Org, My Rotary, Club Central, Club Runner, and all these different avenues of entering data. So I will try and get it clear in my head. But one of the things is, you know, when we talk about service projects, there looks to be a place to enter it in Club Central, or, well, My Rotary is Club, so Club Central is a place to enter service projects. But then in Club Runner, there's also a place that you enter in your projects, and you can organize volunteer hours and allocate tasks and all that sort of thing. So is that a duplication, or does Club Runner sync with My Central when it comes to service projects?
No, the only two areas, thank you for that question, Jason, because that helps me understand where some of the confusion is. The only two areas that feed from Club Runner up into Rotary, Club Central, is membership and foundation. And actually, foundation doesn't come from Club Runner. It comes from the actual dollars that are sent in to Rotary, either from the club or from individual members, and it's tracked by their accounts. But because if you donate to the Rotary Foundation and you're tied to your club, then all of that information is tracked from the Rotary side. But service projects, when you're talking about service projects, hopefully I can clarify this. When you set up a sign-up sheet in your Club Runner for your club, for whatever it is, pancake breakfast, and you have all these different roles and people sign up and you figure out how many people you need for each task and all of that, that is an internal operational use for a system to engage your members to sign up, to dispense information about where is this pancake breakfast happening. But it is that information when you find out, okay, you've done the breakfast, and even when you're planning it, you can set it up as a goal within Rotary Central that you're going to do so many projects. Then when you're finished, you say, okay, we had 10 volunteers, we had 43 hours, we had in-kind donations of X amount, And so the whole story about that then gets entered into Rotary Club Central. Now you have to log in with My Rotary. So just to have the hierarchy, Rotary.org is the website. You log into My Rotary, so you get in deeper into the area that's designated for clubs and districts. You go into the Rotary Club Central section, and then you go into Rotary Showcase. On the left-hand side, there's Rotary Showcase for the projects, and that's where all the real details go. Pancake breakfast, 20 volunteers, X number of hours, so that goes in there. So go in there and play with it a little bit, and that's where those details get recorded. Some of your projects, okay, go ahead, you have a question?
Yep, just when I'm in here now looking at it, and I'm in Club Central, and I can add new service project, pretty straightforward. And then it also a little underneath that, there's a little button that says import from Rotary Showcase. So where is Rotary Showcase?
So it's, take a look on the left-hand side, and Scott, he just chimed in as well here. Scott, you've got some firsthand experience, and maybe we can take this offline because we're going to get very detailed in how to do this. But Jason, I'm going to make note that we're going to do this. If we need to do a separate session, I would gladly set up one just for service projects. Sure. But I'm going to take a note, Jason, for you and I and Scott Young and some others that are interested to be able to walk you through that. Because if you get familiarity with it, then the clubs will be familiar with it. Is that fair to everybody?
I think that's good in terms of time too, Marilyn.
Okay.
And I'm making note of some of these other, if there's other follow-up sessions that we should be looking at doing, because we're planning those for the fall.
So thank you for that. Appreciate the question, Jason. And I think the document that Tracy sent out also has a bit of highlight on how to do that too. Any other questions?
Marilyn, I'm just curious. I'm just logged into Rotary Club Central, and I'm looking at club ratings, and I see that you can see that there are stars and club ratings for past years, but and you can read the comments, but you can't see what the ratings, the stars actually mean. So it would be good to be like, if you click on them, it doesn't really pop up and say what is excellent, what's good, and what not.
Actually, Scott, when you get into that rating section, before you scroll down to the actual clubs, above it does give you the rating, what 5-star, 4-star, what that means.
Okay, well, we can take this offline, but yeah,
for sure. Okay,
I don't understand what I'm looking at, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that together. Thank you for that. Any other questions? This is your time to chime up, and if you don't want to express it right now, we can just send me an email afterwards, and we'll set up a session. And we're going to capture all of these questions, because if you have these questions, other AGs have these questions, and most definitely President-elects have these questions. So let's resolve them. And you know what? I'm very pleased that you have piped up, because otherwise we wouldn't know, and we would assume that you know this stuff. So please. Congratulate yourselves for being brave. This is what we're all about here. We're all opening the kimono, as they say here, and saying what we need to know, right?
Okay. All right.
That's an impression I will get.
Was there another question? Yes, Lou?
Yes, please. Is it the intent then that the area governors should go in and do those club ratings very early in the year? When are you looking for that information, I guess?
Good question, Lou. So the ratings, first of all, are not done until towards the end of the year. Let's say you're doing your club visit with DG Jim in October, and that's when you see what the club goals, how they've progressed. You have the meeting with the executive, find out their strengths and their weaknesses, and then you document where their challenges were, what their goals are. And then later in the year, you may come back in about March and see how are they doing on those goals. And at that, because they may have struggled with something in September and October, but they pulled up their bootstraps and they accomplished those things. So you don't want to rate them too early. You want to wait closer to the end of the year. So right now, actually, I'm encouraging all AGs that are existing AGs to make sure you go in and put in your ratings and your comments. And that's when the district governor, in this case, Tracy, is going in and she's uploading her comments as well. So the 2 levels of comments, your AGs and then the DG as well. But you want to let the clubs have a chance to work on some of those issues so that they can up their, I mean, they don't know what their ratings are. This is totally confidential to the club, right? But you want to make sure that you rate them after they've had an opportunity to address things. Does that help your question? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any idea if my comment or one of our comments under a club rating is visible to district governor or anybody else? Do you know, or is it just for me?
No, they are visible to you as an AG. No other AG gets to see the ratings of the comments of other clubs and other AGs, and the district governor gets to see all of them. That's a perk, I guess, of being DG.
Probably the only perk.
Oh no, I've gotten wine and I've got beautiful
or a
visits.
Could also be a curse.
Yeah, exactly.
Dennis has a question too as well. Dennis?
Not so much a question, but as far as the comments, I use it as an ongoing dialogue of each one of the visits, putting the date in, and then just who I met with and stuff like that. So it's a good thing rather than having to have a notepad and then trying to find it. It's right there on my Rotary.
Dennis, you brought up a very important thing. You've used that comment section for that purpose, which is not its original intention, but the district has recognized that we need to have a reporting system or a way of tracking notes throughout the year. And so we now have an administrator what's Graham's title, Tracy?
Administrative chair. Administrative chair.
Administrative chair. Graham Gilchrist has set up, and I have forwarded to all of you AGs. It's a table that is a reporting to say, here are my clubs, here the date that I met with them, and here's my observation. So that's where you want to record that, Dennis. But thank you for bringing that up, because that is a piece of how do we track our contacts ongoing, whether it be visiting the club or just a phone call to the president. That's where you track it all, as opposed to in the comment section. The comment section is a fairly good size, but it may not be large enough to keep track of every one of your contacts with the club, but that's where you would summarize what your observations have been. So thank you for asking that question, Dennis. Appreciate it.
Would you be able to resend?
Sorry, you're cutting out, Dennis. Could you repeat that, please?
Would you be able to resend that to us? I'm sorry, I may have missed it in all my mails.
Absolutely, I will resend that Graham's sheet for sure. Any other questions?
Yeah, Simon has one.
Is there a way that we can actually, instead of having all these sheets separately, is there no way that we can put that on to the system so that we're not having all these sheets? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here, and I know I filled out Graham's sheet before, but it seemed like that was for his presentation or for his books, and then I didn't know that it was for future use. But it'd be easier if it was an ongoing thing, as we all have different club visits at different times.
So I'm not sure I understand your question, Simon. When you're at this sheet that we were just talking about that Graham has put together is new for this year. In the past, and I think last year with Tracy, you're asked to send to, in this case, to Tracy, next year will be for Jim, to send the summary of challenges and strengths. So that's the prep sheet. There isn't something in a system to be able to incorporate that. It would be nice. These are tools that we've developed over time. Now, so let's figure out how we can accomplish maybe putting those together into one sheet. I'm not quite sure, but let's think about that. Thank you. I appreciate the fact that we're trying to reduce the number of systems. Yeah.
Yeah. Simon, were you also suggesting the idea of like a place where AGs could go, like, I don't know, whether Dropbox or something like that? So if you're looking for resource documents or something that
we don't need to go
be
back
there.
Emails that way and everything else and try to figure out where this piece of document is. I mean, for me, especially when I'm running my business, I got so much stuff, and then I've got other boards that I sit on. So you're constantly looking back at detailed information instead of just being able to go to that one specific place as an AG to be able to fill out forms.
That's a good point. I think, Simon, what we'll take a look at, Tracy, because she's experienced in this past year, and Jim, whether we could put this in district documents, have a section for AG and have all the documents there, rather than starting Dropbox or other repositories.
Yeah.
So let's look at that. And thank you for that. We'll get on that right away, try and make life simpler for everybody.
Okay. All right. I think we're going to try now to give you some more time to chat, and I'm just going to share my screen here for a second. Not that one. And we're going to move now into our breakout section. So if some of you have done this before, but for those of you who haven't, what will happen is that you have each been assigned to a breakout room. We're going to stay there for about 20 minutes, and Tracy, Jim, or Marilyn will be facilitating a conversation around some of these three questions. So what will you do to stay connected with your club presidents, or what have you done? How will you monitor to ensure that your club presidents have fulfilled their roles and have the support that they require? And then again, just building on the last conversation we had, what support will assist you? And I see they're all as question one, but you can do them in whatever order you want.
Okay, good. So we're going to be talking about the three questions in each breakout room, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then once we will have 20 minutes in the breakout rooms for conversation. Then once that has passed, we'll come back together, and there'll be an opportunity for Tracy, Marilyn, and Jim to share a little bit of highlights of their discussion around each one of the questions. So
I see Dennis. Dennis, did you have a question? Your hand is raised.
That was an old one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. So, and just so that you know, you'll be moved to the breakout rooms. You just arrived there, and when the time is up, you'll get a notice that the time is up, and then you'll come back to the main room. You don't have to do anything. You just virtually go from one place to the next. Okay, Jim?
All right. I think you've got the control, Donna.
I do. Okay.
You have the power.
Oh, good. Okay, so do we have 4 breakout rooms or 3?
3. I set up 3.
Okay, so because what I have, Jim, it says create breakout rooms, but you've already created them. So do I have to put you back as the host to do this?
I don't think so. They should still be there, but it's possible. If I'm put back as host, I don't think I can go into the room, so I might have to add you into it.
Okay,
but,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so just hang on. I'll do that. I can't transfer.
So how's everybody keeping in these COVID times?
It's a beautiful day today, so we're outside, hopefully after this, to enjoy some sunshine.
I'm trying to figure out if it's safe to cross the border or if my car will get vandalized.
That's a really good question, Sally. I have heard stories of people from Alberta coming to BC and not being treated well, but a neighbor of mine told me just yesterday, because I was on the website looking to come to BC perhaps in the fall, And they said, no unnecessary travel. Yesterday, apparently a posting has come out on the BC side saying, Alberta's welcome.
Oh yeah, well, we'll take your money anytime.
Yeah.
The question right now on the BC government site, they're very kind and everything, and saying, it's impossible to stop cross-border travel, but they are asking people to limit it. Like if you're coming over because you happen to own property on the Shuswap Lake, that's fine. But does someone from Dawson Creek need to shop at Costco Grand Prairie?
So Jim, I can't get out of being the host, so I'm just going to create the breakout rooms and we'll just go for it.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll see where people land here.
Well, Saskatchewan's always happy to see Albertans come here.
So it appears as though we get a message saying the host is inviting you to join a breakout room.
Yeah, just accept it and you'll be there.
Join the breakout room.
Hello.
Hi.
Awesome.
Are you in the
Thanks.
breakout? Are you in?
I don't know. Let's see. It looks like it's just you and I.
Okay, so we're in our own breakout group. I'm going to try and add you. I tried before to add you to one of the breakout rooms, but I couldn't do it. So maybe it'll just be you and me. Okay, where are you now? Devin, are you there? Okay, now I have to go back. There she is. She's in. Okay.
We're the Keeners. Did you see that, folks?
We win.
We do. Donna, if we have a moment, if we can stop the recording at the end of the session, if I can just report a couple items to the governors or the area governors on a couple things that are going to go out to the presidents.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jim's got that, so just we'll remind him.
Perfect. Good. You can just see all these people popping back here. Isn't this, don't you feel like you're in space right now?
Oh. Well, I'm going to put you
Devin,
back
I'm
on.
so sorry. We took
Oh,
us
no,
a
that's
while to get
okay.
you.
That's okay.
I'm going to put Tracy back. I got to put you back.
Than any doctor's office.
But yeah, oh, thank you, Dennis. Thank you for that. Yes.
Okay, I think we're all back now.
Yeah.
So I've always had, all year I've had her looking over my shoulder.
Right.
Keeps you accountable.
I've been cheerleading him. Cheerleading.
Well,
so
awesome,
did you
everyone.
want me to? Did you want me to start?
Yes, Jim.
Okay. So we went through the 3 questions in my group.
Yeah.
And sorry?
Jim, just before you do that, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have each of you report just on one question.
Okay, sure.
Okay, just in the interest of time. And we're going to start with Tracy actually reporting on question 1.
Okay.
What will you do to stay connected with the club presidents?
Okay. So we had a really good discussion. I'll keep this short, recognizing time. We had a really good discussion on connection, knowing that COVID's happening right now and the changes in regards to being connected with clubs. So making the phone calls, the emails, connecting, joining right now with those clubs in their Zoom meetings. So they're starting to build a base and build an understanding and starting to build that connection so that the presidents and the clubs are starting to understand that connection of where the AG is. Example as well as one of our area governors is going to be meeting with the president-elect this coming week to get a base on and understand, Rotary Club Central and starting to build that understanding. So it's really is connecting right away. But also another great tool that came out of our discussion was also getting the data in advance. So going into Rotary Club Central and gathering all of the demographics data on the clubs so that being prepared that when you do start to meet with the club presidents and the clubs, you've got those tools in your fingertips already and you can understand where they've done well, what the retention rate's been with membership, what they're doing well with service. So it gives you that base and you go in informed. So truly being informed. So there, I'll pass it back to you, Donna.
Okay. Marilyn, do you want to share your group's response to the second question?
Yes. My breakout session was watching eagerly to see when I made it back because I need to run across the back alley and get my power cord because my computer was losing power. Anyway,
they weren't the only ones watching. So was I.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. So the question is, how will you monitor to ensure that club presidents are fulfilling their roles and having the support they require? We had some good discussion about how they can gain support. So it's, first of all, for an AG to recognize whether they're fulfilling their role, you have to go to the meetings and watch them, ask questions, ask them how they're doing in their club and just be able to get a sense when speaking with the president whether they're struggling or not. But as far as support, we had more dialogue about how they can get support. And some mentioned past presidents of their club to be supportive of the president, other club presidents, and Scott in particular mentioned he created a little cohort of other clubs that he could consult. And he indicated also that when you're inputting goals, to make sure that they understand what goals that they're putting in there. So it's a way to have dialogue with them. And then you can test the president on whether they're completing their functioning role as a president and as a leader. Are they evidenced as a leader of that particular club? Did anybody else from our group want to add anything to that?
I think the only thing that I was going to mention is just I don't always get emails from the clubs as far as, because they're all meeting via Zoom now, so I don't get those links. So I'm just going to try and reach out and get all on their mailing list.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if you don't know when the clubs are meeting, to get on their mailing list, but also that gave us a heads up saying, well, if you don't know as their AG where they're meeting, then other people don't know. So make sure that you touch base with the president, say, hey, make sure you put your Zoom meeting coordinates on your Club Runner site.
Great. Thanks, Marilyn. Okay, Jim. The last question.
Okay, so the last question, we were just getting into it when we got returned back to the main room. What support will assist you in your role? And in other words, how can we help you guys in your role? And we were talking about meeting at least 4 times a year, open some dialogue and make sure that the communication flow is open between the area governors and us. And I guess this is a key question, so I'd like to open it up to anybody else. What are your thoughts? How can we support you going forward?
Well, I know Tracy.
Sorry. If I can just offer on that one, Jim, something that came out quite predominantly in our session with our group was, first off, the support of Marilyn as AG lead. That was really important to be able to have that conduit to go to for support. The other piece that when Donna had just joined, we were having a very in-depth discussion around the importance of the area governor meetings and continuing what we started this past year of coming together via Zoom, and the opportunities that this presented was some where questions can be brought forward. There was problem solving that as a result of the support of all of the knowledge and the resources from everyone at the table. And it also is a great resource and tool for communications, and to continue to have the communications coming from the district, the district governor down to the AGs, and then down, which was also then sent out to the clubs. So there was a recommendation that's come from our group to continue at least on a bi-monthly basis, so every second month, to come together at a very structured level for 1 month, or pardon me, for 1 hour at a time via Zoom.
And Marilyn, was there anything from your group? This is probably the most important question for this group right now.
Some comments were brought up about past AGs being a support as well. Certainly as you're easing into your role, knowing what they had learned, because there's history. Every club has history, and they're moving forward from that. Some move forward faster than others, and some issues are lingering. So to have that past AG give you that guidance is helpful. We also mentioned that there are lots of resources out there aside from what we're doing here, and what we'll continue to do is to go to the Learning Center. Zoom Basics was brought up as really exceptional. We want to get onto the Zoom Basics training because, as you can see, we're all struggling with technology at one point or another, and there's new stuff happening. In fact, I was just brought up by Jim about you're going to have a closed captioning. So you think about someone who is hearing impaired, that you need to have that, there need to be options for inclusivity, and we're all about that too. There's a question that was brought up, and I'm going to throw it out now because part of support, if the AGs are going to be asked, when will we make an announcement, or will the district for that matter make an announcement as to when clubs can meet in person? I responded that it's really pretty much tied to Alberta Health's announcements and going from there, and it's personal choice.
And I'll just comment in regards to that. As everyone's aware, we have the risk task force that's been dealing with COVID, and we have to follow, and under RI, but also on a provincial level and a federal level, we have to follow all legislations of each province. So must reflect on each province and be very conscientious of the requirements and the legislations that's being enforced right now. I'm just going to add a couple other pieces. There was another question. There was 2 other questions that came out. And Marilyn, this comes back to the concept of a hub, a knowledge hub, and if that's in Club Runner, but having a central place to ensure we know who to contact in Club Runner for support, who to contact at RI for support. So having that resource and knowledge hub, which could be designed, we can design that within our own Club Runner space currently. The other piece was also doing the session on Club Runner for the area governors, and so that it's understood the level of access, so that the area governors can also work with the clubs to understand that not just one person should be in charge of managing the Club Runner space, because what happens if someone is no longer with the club or passes away, and that information is lost then, or access to that information. So an important piece too as well for just continuing to educate through our clubs.
Have you scheduled that yet, Tracy?
No, not yet.
Okay.
That just came up today.
Yeah.
That just was one today. So
can I just mention that working as the chair of the Learning and Development Committee, this need for Club Runner training has come up every year. And so Jody, it's going to be one of the areas we're really going to focus on, both for clubs, club secretaries, and now for AGs. I think we really need to get some sessions put together and record them so people can use that as a resource. So I'll take that back to the Learning and Development Committee.
Lou has a question here as well. She's put in the chat about speaker lists. We had talked about that in a previous Zoom call, and I think we had listed district speakers, so like Tim and yourself, Tracy, but are we looking beyond that? Lou, maybe you want to add clarification. Are you looking for speakers beyond district presenters?
Yes, the impression I got was that people in the district, through their own connections and contacts, knew of a number of speakers on different topics, and they were going to put their heads together and come up with a list that we could distribute to our clubs of speakers that would potentially they would be able to contact.
You know what, now just thought of something, Lou, sorry to interject there. Every club is meeting on Zoom, and maybe we should be sending out a list of what clubs are having what speakers so that people can log into any other club speakers. I could just cite a couple of them that I've walked in that have been excellent. And the White Avenue Club is having a person speak on privacy and ethics of artificial intelligence, June 23rd, for example. So go ahead, sorry, Dennis, interject.
Well, I think what it was that Lou was mentioning is we were looking as AGs or club members to have a list with contact information. I mean, we had said, you know, Tim Shields and, you know, and Tracy and stuff like that, but I think they would need the contact information, who may be available to speak and what their contact information is, so that you can phone them and make arrangements and then make sure they get the Zoom link.
And that's all in the district website, all under the district org chart.
So just, this is a question for Tracy and Jim, because I don't know the answer to it. Is there a committee that we have as one of our district, like, I think everybody thinks this is a good idea, but unless somebody is tasked with doing it as part of their committee work, I think it may just be one of these things that'll be kind of ad hoc, or it'll fall through the cracks. So is this something we could look at as taking to a committee, or forming a committee? I'm not sure what the right way to deal with that is, but maybe that's something we could discuss offline. But it's a need that keeps coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to grow because we know that we are going to continue even post-COVID, having more and more opportunities to meet online. And so it is something that a discussion with our community service director, it would fit under that portfolio. So, and she's got a good grasp on where things are in regards to, so that would be the direction we would take for that. And
Perhaps as AGs, we can send that information as we're attending all these club meetings. If you've heard a good speaker, that you could forward that information to, who is that person that's going to take ownership of this?
It would be Alexis, but we need to do an introductory email to Alexis in regards to this, because it is under the community service aspect. So well, so, let's blog that one for follow-up. Okay.
If I can on that, most of the clubs have the speakers that are upcoming for the next couple of months on their websites. And if we had the district calendar that was reflected of the events that were taking place of all of the clubs, the speakers will be there by almost default. And you'll be able to go down the calendar and say, hey, they've got a speaker on such and such. So you can kill two birds with one stone if you get a greater use of the district calendar.
Yeah. And you can use that as a club president and area governor. All you do when you're entering that event, you note it to also post on the district site. So we have to think of the resources aspect. So if someone's already posting it in Club Runner, then they can also lead it over to the district site. So just encourage everyone to use those resources, because we don't have the resources within the district to be able to manage the 60 clubs and their weekly meetings.
But that gets back to the training for Club Runner too.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I'm
watching time, so I think we're going to move ahead. Thanks, everyone. I hope the discussion was helpful, and it was really great to get these ideas for the work that we have going forward. I'm going to turn it back to Jim. I'm just going to share my screen. And move us forward here. Where would it go? Just to look at some upcoming things. So Jim, can I turn it over to you?
Sure. So the 2020 to 2021 visit schedule, I'm going to be working with Marilyn on this next week. We'd like to have that completed as soon as possible. Because we are in a pandemic situation, the visits are going to be virtual. So it's going to be interesting to set up different than the traditional meetings that we used to have, where you used to go and drive to the actual Rotary Club. We're going to be doing virtual club visits and we'll see how things go progress as they go through the year. And we definitely want it done before June the 17th. So again, I'm going to be working on that with Marilyn, and we'll go from there. The next training session is the June 17th, President-elect and the area governors. And it'll be a chance where the incoming presidents will have a chance to talk to their area governors. We're going to have some breakout rooms set up as well. So mark that in your calendar, and I look forward to those dates.
Thanks, Jim. Now, Tracy, do you want to speak to the AGs? So, Jim, Tracy asked if we could turn off the recording at this point because she has some issues or some information she needs to share.